Did you know that Medusa was commonly depicted facing front in ancient Greek art, despite most figures being depicted in profile? Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly and today's video is all about the snake-haired Gorgon Medusa. We're going to look at why a beautiful girl was turned into a monster that turned people into stone and how she's a key character in the myth of Perseus. Don't forget, the easiest way to support us is by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and hitting that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss out on any new uploads. If you haven't already heard, World History Encyclopedia has teamed up with Andante Travels to bring you the Treasures of Ancient Greece guided tour. Join our expert tour guide, Dr. Rita Roussos, as she takes you on a journey through classical Athens to Delphi, across the Gulf of Corinth, and into the Peloponnesian hills, where the hero Hercules began his 12 labors, and King Agamemnon set out to rescue Helen and capture Troy. Make sure to visit worldhistory.travel or hit the link in the description below to learn all about this amazing trip, and we hope to see you there. The mortal Medusa, along with her two immortal sisters, Stheno and Euryale, are known as the Gorgons and were born to the sea god Phorcys and the sea goddess Ceto. All three of the Gorgons, in the Greek sources, had wings, wide mouths, fangs or tusks, serpent hair, and had the ability to turn people to stone with their gaze. Later writers, like Ovid, depict Medusa as a beautiful maiden who was transformed into a woman with snake hair and a look that could kill by Athena. The name Gorgon comes from the ancient Greek word Gorgos, meaning grim, fierce, and terrible, and Medusa's name comes from the ancient Greek verb medor, meaning to guard or protect. According to Hesiod in his Theogony, the Gorgons lived in the utmost place towards the night by the Hesperides beyond Oceanus, and the later writers Herodotus and Pausanias placed their abode in Libya. The three sisters are only really mentioned in Greek mythology in the tale of Medusa's death at the hand of the hero Perseus, but the Gorgon face and figure was a popular one in ancient art from the archaic Greek period all the way through to the Hellenistic period. Medusa, as the one mortal Gorgon, is the key figure in Perseus' story, and upon her decapitation, the golden giant Chrysaor and the winged horse Pegasus emerged from her severed neck. Through time, Medusa's tale changed between all of the different ancient writers and poets who wrote of her story. The 8th century BCE poet Hesiod tells of how Poseidon had sex with Medusa in a soft spring meadow, and Ovid, the Roman poet, tells how Medusa was violated in a shrine to Minerva, the Roman equivalent of Athena, by Neptune, the Roman equivalent of Poseidon. And in retaliation for desecrating her shrine, Minerva turned Medusa's lovely hair into snakes. As is quite common in Greek mythology, it's the mortal woman who gets punished, not the male god who caused the trouble. Generally speaking, earlier poets depicted Medusa as a monster from birth alongside her immortal sisters, but later writers say she began as a beautiful maiden but was turned into a monster by either Athena or Minerva. Medusa is most well known for her death at the hands of Perseus, and according to Pseudo-Apollodorus, this is how the story goes. Perseus was the son of Zeus, who took the form of a shower of gold, and Danae, who had been locked up by her father Acrisius, since he was told by an oracle that he would be killed by Danae's son. When Acrisius learned that Perseus had been born and was the son of the king of the gods, he put both Danae and her son Perseus into a chest and hurled it into the sea, which eventually came ashore at the island of Seriphus, and Perseus was raised by Dictys, the brother of Polydectes, the king of Seriphus. Polydectes fell in love with Danae, but Perseus was pretty protective of his mother, and so the king made a plan to trick Perseus. He gathered his people to a banquet under the ruse of collecting contributions for the marriage of Hippodamia, who tames horses. When Perseus arrived without horses for a gift, as was requested by Polydectes, Polydectes instead asked Perseus to retrieve for him the head of Medusa, the only mortal Gorgon, in the hopes that he would not succeed. Perseus was guided by the god Hermes and the goddess Athena on his journey. It is said that Athena helped in the killing of Medusa because the girl had been willing to have her beauty compared to Athena's. From some nymphs, the hero was given winged sandals, a sack known as a kibyssus to store the head of the Gorgon, and the invisibility cap of Hades, and from Hermes, he was given an adamantine sickle. Perseus arrived at the home of the Gorgons whilst they slept, and as he stood over the sleeping creatures, Athena guided Perseus's hand while he looked into the reflection of a bronze shield, so as not to be turned to stone by the gaze of the Gorgons if they awoke, and he cut off the head of Medusa with the adamantine sickle. From her severed head sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and Chrysaor. Perseus placed the head of Medusa in his kibyssus, but as he was leaving, the remaining two Gorgons woke up and tried to pursue him, but since he was wearing the invisible cap, they couldn't see him. After slaying Medusa, Perseus uses her head multiple times. Some versions of the tale of Ariadne, Theseus, and Dionysus say that Ariadne was killed by Artemis, and others say she was accidentally turned to stone by Perseus after Dionysus had made war on him. Another use of Medusa's head was to save Andromeda, who had been tied to a rock as an offering to the sea monster Ceto. Her mother had claimed she was more beautiful than the Nereids, who flew into a rage upon hearing this, and had Poseidon, the god of the sea, on their side. The only way to stop the sea god's floods and the sea monster was to give up Andromeda. Perseus fell in love with her the moment he saw her. He slew the sea monster and set her free, but Andromeda was engaged to be married to her uncle Phineus. But Perseus made short work of him by turning him to stone with the head of Medusa. When Perseus returned to the island of Seriphus, he turned Polydectes and his people to stone with the Gorgon's head, and made Dictys the king, before giving Athena the head of Medusa, who placed it in the center of her shield to terrify her enemies. Medusa is described and depicted in many different ways in the ancient Greek and Roman world, as a beautiful woman comparable to Athena, or as a monster with horny scales, big tusks, wings, hair of snakes, and the ability to turn people to stone. In Ovid's Metamorphoses, Poseidon seduces the beautiful Medusa, and then her hair is turned into snakes by the goddess Athena. But there's no mention of fangs or wings or scales. The head or face of Medusa was a common feature of art, pottery, and architecture, and is known as the Gorgoneon. And what's unique to Medusa's face is that she is more often than not depicted facing front, which is uncommon compared to most other ancient Greek art where faces are depicted in profile. In the Archaic period from the 8th to the early 5th centuries BCE, the Gorgon face could be found on temple pediments, as small architectural features, in statues, and on pottery. She's depicted with a large round face, a beard, fangs or tusks, wings, and often with an open mouth and stretched tongue. Through time, Medusa continued to be depicted on vessels and pottery, and even on shields and breastplates, and she continues to be depicted facing front with wild hair, but her features became more feminine and human-like. Medusa can be found all over ancient Greek, Hellenistic, and Roman art. And as she became more human-like, she often still retained the wings, especially if her whole body was being depicted. The image of Medusa became not only a popular image, but also an apotropaic device, meaning that the image was believed to be able to ward off evil. Why do you think later depictions of Medusa were more beautiful compared to the earlier monstrous Gorgonean imagery? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our new videos every Tuesday and Friday. This video was brought to you by World History Encyclopedia. For more great articles and interactive content, head to our website via the link below. World History Encyclopedia is a non-profit organisation, and you can find us on Patreon, a brilliant site where you can support our work and receive exclusive benefits in return. Your support helps us create videos twice a week, so make sure to check it out via the pop-up in the top corner of the screen or via the Patreon link down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon with another video.